Today we're going to address some details that we've found to be important in the safe and effective performance of the Mace 360. As when lifting anything, but especially when there's something heavy rotating around your head, there should be details involved. Some of the most important details we've found are addressing the floor before we start the lift with mace, and also identifying your positional restrictions before you start the movement. Two pieces that we use to warm the shoulders up and also identify people's point of restriction are close grip partial pull-ups and kettlebell halos. When moving a mace, the quickest way to underlift or put your shoulders at risk is breaking into extension when you start moving the mace behind you. A few details that we always address before anyone starts moving the mace is addressment of the floor and assurance that we can get our arms in an organized position behind our head. Our foot position will be similar to a press. At or around hip width, toes slightly out, and knees driving apart, making sure that we're rooted firmly in the floor. Hips will be pulled underneath us, not behind us. And a quick check of the shoulder position is both hands on the back of the head with the hips still pulled underneath. Once we've gone through those basic diagnostics, we begin teaching the mace with the front pendulum. Moving the mace in the front allows people to get familiar with the rotating weight and also the body English required to move the mace without leading with your arms or bouncing excessively with your legs. In watching the front pendulum from the side, note the hips underneath and note the very close proximity of the mace to our body throughout the lift. Once we've fact-checked those positions and gotten a bunch of reps of the front pendulum under our belt, we'll look at the back pendulum. The goal here is swinging the mace up to parallel with the floor while maintaining an organized midline and square shoulders. In watching the back pendulum from the side, be sure to identify a brace neutral spine and hips underneath you, not behind you. Now, with some reps of the back pendulum under our belt, we'll start looking at pulling the mace over to the front. When the mace comes over the front, we want to immediately put it in the holster position, which is the inside of your biceps and your elbows on your body. This both standardizes a beginning and an end to each rep and keeps us from overextending when beginning the movement once we move into the 360. The pullover from the back pendulum into the front will be 100% easier if the mace is at or above parallel. Momentum will do its work, and you won't have to fight with the weight. Until we're ready to practice the 360, once we've performed the pullover, we use our safety putback to get the mace behind us. With arms in the holster position, the handle of the mace is going to go on your shoulder, and you're going to push it safely behind you. Once we've practiced all these introductory lifts and made sure that our mobility is on track, we're ready for the mace 360. A couple super important details of the mace 360 involve pushing the weight directly to the side as opposed to behind, and making sure to identify both the drive and the drop portion of the movement. We want the mace to travel a straight line behind our body. If we push it behind us, it will travel diagonally, and is really one of the only ways that you can hit yourself with the mace when performing this movement. Our recommendation is bringing the mace back to the holster position at the end of each rep, whether we're doing continuous reps to one side or one left and one right. Just like with every lift, everyone's body moves a little bit differently. More information will be learned in a one-on-one training setting than with any video on the internet. But a couple of standards that we use all the time are making sure to brace like you're weightlifting prior to any mace movement, and also being absolutely sure that when performing the mace 360, we're pushing the weight directly to the side and not at all behind us. One trick that we use to accomplish that is having someone stand near you and attempting to push the mace directly towards them. A couple of notes on training with the mace, learning the rotational movements, and then also implementation. If you don't have access to a mace, Most of these movements can be practiced with a sledgehammer, though it's not ideal for many reasons. The greatest of which is the length of the mace is what makes it the most valuable. In addition, most sledgehammers or misdesigned maces are too short, and with any positional inconsistency, have a very high chance of hitting you right in the ass. One simple and effective way to fact-check position for a heavier 2-arm mace 360 is with a 1-arm mace 360 with a sledgehammer. Just as with the heavier weights, we want to notice the drive and drop portion of the movement, and we want to standardize the holster at the beginning and end of each rep. Just a couple of final thoughts on mace lifting and our implementation of it into your current training programs. Just like with any heavy lift, if we're going to program heavy mace 360 or mace shovel, we will do that at the beginning of the training day, and then use things like a front pendulum, lighter 360s, or any of the introductory movements as more of the conditioning work. Additionally, if you're performing gimmick movements at too light of weights, we feel that is an underutilization of one of the most underused tools in strength and conditioning. Heavy, organized mace lifting builds shoulder strength, power, and rotational stability like almost nothing else. And it also makes that great grab somebody type of strength that transfers so well to all sport. If you would like any programming suggestions or training tips on mace lifting, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thanks for watching.